When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin vs. the World. I'm SeptumSin, this is Kotobuki Jake,
Hi.
and we're here to inform you about what's coming out right now.
Yes.
We touch, we break, make it seem like we feel the same. We love what we hate. We lie, but we know we can't water what doesn't grow. Give up, let it go. Well, we fell apart just in time. You say at least it was worth the try. At least it was worth the try. At least it was worth the try. I drive from your place, miss your lips, but I hate the taste. No fun in this game. I will call our bluff, 'cause using bodies isn't good enough. Slow down, this ain't love. Well, we fell apart.
Alright, well, you got to see what was coming out this week. Of course, this is the week of Halloween. We're all festive-y. And we've got some fun stuff coming out this week. Not as much as last week. Last week was a ton.
Yeah.
This week is kind of short in comparison.
Still some pretty high-profile stuff, but also some kind of meh stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we'll lead off with a couple of the meh ones. Black Clover is a series I have a lot of interest in, but this apparently is just part 2 of season 1.
Yeah, they're doing that splitting thing.
And I don't remember, is it Discotech, isn't it, that's doing Galaxy Angel? They're doing Z this week. I feel like I don't remember how that breaks down with that franchise, but it's getting a re-release. It was out once before, and it's coming out again.
Well, I'm starting one that I'm debating whether I feel like it should be in my collection, but because this is finally the definitive Michael Bay Transformers collection.
Until he makes another one.
Because, and he said that he's done with the series, that he's bored with it, and he wants to move on. I mean, literally in the last one he was talking about, I don't care about the fans. You're going to shell up money if no matter what I tell you, or no matter what I do. So it kind of left me with a bad taste in my mouth. I've seen the first 2. I don't know. I may get it, I may not. And of course Bumblebee is coming out, but he doesn't really have much to do with that one. So, but all of them are out, so if you want to just grab all the Michael Bay stuff, you got it.
And isn't that a 4K release? I don't remember if you said that.
4K.
Yeah, so if you want to see all that mind-numbingly crazy-looking CG garbledygook in all of its brilliant glory.
Explosions look great in 4K.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, and explosions are Michael Bay film, obviously. That's, but... So, anyway, another anime coming out that I've heard about, I've not seen, but I've heard good things, and I'm intrigued, is one called Honda-kun. And Honda-kun is, I think it's a complete series release, but, it just looks fun. It's, wasn't he a manga artist?
What was that?
Honda-kun, isn't that about a manga artist?
I don't
I
know.
want to say it is. I don't know. I remember reading about it on ANN and going, this looks pretty fun. So, it's coming out.
Okay, well, my next one up on my release schedule is Black Klansman is finally making its way. So last time we talked about another film of similar vein, which was How May I Help You or something like that. I can't remember what the thing was. It was the one about the telemarketer.
Yeah.
And this one has a similar kind of concept when you're talking about race relations. But this one's a bit, well...
Sorry to bother you.
Yeah, sorry to bother... That's the one. But this one... This one has a really good feel. You can tell that Jordan Peele had his hands in this project when he was working with Spike Lee. Because it does not feel like either of their work. It does feel like a combination of the two. It was an excellent film, so long as you're not a Trump supporter. If you're a Trump supporter, stay away from this film. You'll hate it.
One could say that about most good cinema.
Yeah. But it's a film about about this black cop who was one of the first black cops in his area up in Colorado and infiltrating a branch of the Klan that's trying to get itself started up in that area. Most people don't think of that area as one where the Klan exists, and he managed to, again, much like that Sorry to Bother You, fake his voice so he sounds white and was able to join the Klan, and hence the name. The reason why a lot of people would not like it if they support Trump is that he does a lot of comparisons to Trumpism and this rise of the Klan. So it is what it is, but it is a very well done movie, well acted, great music, great feel. Probably one of Spike Lee's better films.
Wonder how many people went to see this expecting it to be a Clayton Bigsby film. I don't know. That was one of the more interesting...
That's what I thought of when I originally heard of it.
Man, Dave Chappelle's had his moments. But anyway, a great film that came out this summer. A truly great film. Still my favorite film of the year was Incredibles 2. And that one has got its release this week.
Oh.
Very, very high profile Pixar offering. And if you have not yet seen the film, you should see the film.
It's on my list.
I was waiting for this one. This is one of the few Pixar films where a sequel made perfect logical sense. And it still took them 14 years to do it.
But darned if they can't put out Cars movies.
Exactly. But they did go on record saying that they didn't want to do one until they really felt comfortable and confident that they had one worth doing. And I think they did. I think they did one that was very well worth doing. So, like I said, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely don't wait on that one. That's a good one.
Now, this next one is for those of you who really like the old school Mecha series. And this really is a cool old school series, I believe from the 90s, maybe late 80s, which is Patlabor. Now, a while ago, Made in Japan released all of them on Blu-ray. But now you can get it all on one set. And when I mean all of it, I mean this. I mean this part, which is the TV. The next part of the TV. The third part of the TV. And the fourth part of the TV, totaling 47 episodes. But that's not all. You also get the 16-episode New Files series. And the OVA, which is 7 episodes long. This series is a fun series. It is slightly humorous. It's got a lot of fun vibe. People using mechs in regular police involvement, and unlike Tank Police
was there Law and Order and
Yes.
giant robots.
And Tank Police did it more in a parody sense.
Yeah.
This one was slightly parody in that way. It is a fun series. And matter of fact, there's a lot of similarities between the two. I should have done some research on it because they might even be related. But also, because there's more.
Ooh.
Also, you get Movie 1, which I still have my original release for that, my Bandai release. Movie 2. And Movie 3.
Wow.
All of these are very serious ones. So, again, very different tone, but similar characters. It is an excellent thing to get started on. If it was me, I would get this.
Well,
But I already have it, so I'm not going to be getting it. Because this will be condensed into something like that.
yeah. So I may have to do that, because Pat Labor is worth having, definitely.
Oh, definitely.
And you mentioned last week we were talking. He was going on about Dragnet, so I couldn't help but mention that one of those boxes had Full Metal Dragnet on the back, and I'm like, yeah, I could do that. It'd be fun. So a show that, from what I understand, was less fun and more painful, make you want to beat someone with a stick for ruining your memories, is coming out this week. That's its reputation. I'm very much hoping it rises above its reputation. One of the greatest anime ever released is Kino no Tabi, Kino's Journey, which is way overdue for a Blu-ray upgrade, and particularly for the OVA to be released.
Yeah.
But while we're waiting, they produced a new anime series called Kino's Journey: The Beautiful World, which was supposed to be, apparently they polled readers of the light novels and what have you to decide which stories should be told in this new series. And apparently they did do some very popular stories, but one of the criticisms I've heard, the original story is an anthology. It does hit a different, like each episode pretty much revolves around Kino in a new country, except I think there was, one multiple episode arc? It was like two.
That was, I think, the origin arc or something.
No, the origin arc was only one.
Was it only one?
But there was one. It was the one with the Colosseum. I can't remember the proper name of it. That was one of the first episodes of the new one. And according to the reviews on Anime News Network, they really should have let well alone with that one.
Oh, yeah,
I've heard.
Copyright.
I've heard very, very, very. Yeah. Let's see.
Right next to Kenzie.
Yeah. Kino is a girl who doesn't really necessarily scream girlishness. She goes around on her motorbike, Hermes, just traveling. They have a strict 3-day rule, each country. It's basically like Gulliver's Travels in a way. She goes to these fantastical countries, but they're not as fantastical as in Gulliver. They're actually, in some cases, shockingly, frighteningly realistic in some cases. And she just does this thing. She goes around and in 3 days, then she's gone. She very rarely gets involved. And one of the great things of the original series was that moral. She debates sometimes whether she's doing the right thing. And apparently in the new show, they kind of do away with that part of it. So I really want to see it, but I am very worried that I may hate someone afterwards for this.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
It's on my list to get. I'm just not in a hurry to get it. It has almost a melancholy feel to it, but it's a whimsical melancholy.
Well, the original, again.
Yeah,
we're not
and
sure
again, I don't know about the new
this
one, but I mean, this is the feel of the original.
Yeah.
So hopefully it holds at least a candle to it.
It's like, what is the refrain they use repeatedly? Is like, the world is not beautiful, and that in a way lends it to a sort of beauty.
Yes.
Which, is a neat way of looking at it, definitely.
So my last entry is a re-release from a Stephen King TV movie called Sleepwalkers. It's essentially about these shape-shifting cat people things who are apparently afraid of regular cats. So this one here would scare them off a little bit. So it's kind of silly. It's got incest. And it's Stephen King silliness.
And cat people things.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of if they decide to take the cringy, the one cringy part of it and play it over and over again.
Lovely.
I don't know if you've gotten to that part yet.
Not yet.
Well.
I am reading it, finally.
I know you know of it, so...
Well, yeah, you've mentioned it enough. You know, it's funny, you can't talk about it without knowing whether you're talking about the title or something else. But, at any rate, I've got 3 more on mine, and 2 more of them are remakes. I'll get to those in a minute. But I do want to mention briefly that John Carpenter's The Thing is getting a Steelbook re-release, and for horror fans, that's a big thing. I've only seen The Thing once, and I thought it was overrated.
So that's the original one, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
That was the impression I got. And then re-releases and remixes. This summer saw a very unusual in terms of, really? They're remaking this now? Sort of film? The old Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman film Papillon, which I still need to see.
I've got it on a
They
disc.
remade it with Charlie Hunnam and Rami Malek. And from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. I'm very interested in seeing both versions. So that's coming out this week. And then the last one we've gotten to is Sentai's re-releasing Negima. But Negima, like, I guess, how would you say it to say it differently?
It's got like a question mark and an exclamation point.
It's basically the original manga Negima was a shonen series that got way too into the fan servicey parts for a while, but then turned into a straight up shonen action series. The anime played up the fan servicey parts, and before they really got full bore into the shonen part, they flipped it on its head and turned it into a weird drama for like 5 episodes. And then they decided this is what's getting re-released. This is the series itself and the spring and summer specials. And of course there you've got Asuna Kagarazaki and Nodaka and
they have those 2 weird puppets that's...
what's her name? Yes, and I mean that in a good way. They have these weird little animal critter things, and the frog always says, and I mean that in a good way. But basically what they did was they took the basic characters, they sped through the first half of the anime in like 3 episodes, and then they continued on a little bit with the story, but kind of gradually went way off into something else.
They were like weird.
And this was like an ultra, almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Parody version of the series. Each character's traits are magnified to the nth degree. Now, the cool thing about it is all the characters get a chance to shine. Yeah. There's a lot of characters in the series, and the original anime, in the final episode preview, they had a joke where all the characters who had not been featured gave the presentation of, we didn't get any lines, and all this kind of stuff. But most of them get a chance to in the remix. And some of the fun stuff, like Asuna is played up as a total dingbat in the remix, who's obsessed with Chupacabra for some reason.
Yes.
And one of my favorite parts is where she makes all these Chupacabra t-shirts, cannot give them away to save her life, and prays to God that he'll buy one, and he drops a wash basin on her head. And I like that part. I thought it was fun. So it's not a great series, but it's a lot of fun. And if you've never seen any of the Negimas, it could be a good entry point if you're really into crazy anime.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not, you're better with the other series. But
and it's a pretty good value because you get the spring and summer OVA with it.
Right.
And again, I liked it. I watched it as it came out, and then they stopped, and then our sources stopped releasing it because they got clamped down on. But then they waited almost a year before they started releasing it on DVD, and they only released the first half
you were
for a
up
while.
to like the last couple episodes.
Yeah, it
weren't
was
you?
just like a few episodes. And it bothered the heck out of me. Then they made me wait between 2 parts. That was when I bought the 2 parts of originally.
Talking about troublesome release schedules, though, Mahou Sensei Negima is one of the longest manga I've read. I think it's 38 volumes. And, okay, like I said, that first story arc where Evangeline, the vampire character, is properly established, is done in both anime. The Kyoto arc is the next major arc, and the first anime stops at about the 3/4 mark of that story. And then they've got the Grand Magic, or they've got the what do they call it? The Mahora Academy Magic Academy Mahora Days or something.
Yeah.
Has never been animated at all. And then they went into the whole magical world part, where they did a short 3-episode anime to set it up. They did 4-episode OVA that each one was a piece of the setup of the story. And then they skipped ahead to the movie, which started with literally one scene from each of the previous 7 volumes. And then they did the movie as an alternative end. So large portions of the manga have never been animated. And all those OVAs that were from the later parts and the movie still have yet to have an official American release mentioned. When we did our anime that need a release thing, we did a brief little, it made our also round.
Yeah.
But maybe Sentai will move forward with those now that they've got the others. Maybe.
Well,
Yep.
that's the end of our news for the time being. And, of course, let us know what you're planning on buying this week. Mm-hmm. What are you doing for Halloween? Let us know. Of course, give us a like, subscribe, share, and we will see you on the next one.
Goodbye.